Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 60 of Rannoch, our vanilla Boreal build. We're having a wonderful day. Now we're back over here at the campus in today's episode after some wonderful suggestions from you guys. To add some things around here, we're going to get some rich professor's housing up in the hills and surrounding forest here, alongside some student housing, and a student nightlife waterfront complete with a train station for this bit of the city. Which certainly makes sense with so much rail infrastructure passing through here, right? And I was going to use one of the elevated stations because all the networks here are clearly elevated. Because we've already got the embankment, we might be able to use a ground station and already have the layer in, which will create as a really nice suburb, which is definitely where we'll get started today. This has already been named to the Jamon Riverfront. A shout out to our amazing patron Jamon. Thank you for all your support, mate. This is going to become the emerging downtowns area, right? So first of all, let's bring up some roads for this little area, shall we? Keep things quite landscaped around here. And let's come up for 10 first of all. Now, because this is kind of running in line with the campus couplet, I think it'd be quite nice if we could actually extend campus area just slightly over here, so we can accommodate another asset. Maybe this fountain actually, which sits and fits. So there we go, perfect. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice complement to this waterfront. Let's get that waterfront road in. This will just run. So let's do the divider one actually, the one with the median. And we'll have this run pretty much across. Don't hook into that. You probably will, you know. And then with these roads, let's just hook them together. So something like this. Let's turn our attention toward this train station over here. And let's see what we can do with this. We also need to move our little antenna, which we will. That can go there for right now. Find a new home for that. Super. So that gives us a really fantastic little elevated station, doesn't it? How about that? Really like how that looks. It's a great DLC pack, the Railroads of Japan, if you don't have it. Available for very cheap now down below on Instant Gaming. You can get it for, I'm sure, under £5, if not maybe 2 or 3. Super good pack. You get some really nice train assets with it. And with the road down, I'd love to have this slope down onto that waterfront road actually. So let's have this come up here. In a fashion not too dissimilar to that. We'll keep the trees going up the road. And let's just meet the guideline here of each. 10 by 12 curve, that should be okay. And then let's get that train stop in here, shall we? So let's just let it snap onto the line, there we go. So we'll have the airport train stop on the outside platforms. This way the intercities and cargoes can just go straight through the middle. And the intercities will hopefully stop there as well if they need to. So you're going to start for us? No. You're going to go straight through. Of course. Well, hopefully we'll start to see some people arrive regardless. With emerging downtowns in, let's get that commercial growing. I think I'm going to unzone a little bit of this road. Not all of it though, because I would like some buildings here. And then let's do our commercial. And quite obvious blocks, save some room, some pathways through here too. And then all this can become commercial and probably a good bit of residential as well. So it probably makes sense to put more of the residential this side, doesn't it? Let's do that as well. That way they won't get any sort of noise pollution from the train station either. Super. Definitely want more roads in here though. Let's not forget them just yet. Let's come out from here. Can we hit a guideline with that? So we can. That's good for me. It gives us a little bit more density in the middle of town. Land value around here should be pretty high. They shouldn't need too many parks or anything. Living so close to the campus, which is essentially a giant park in itself, really, isn't it? Really is. Right, there's our first train zone getting off yet. Does not like it. So with this side of the asset, of course, a lot of these metro and train stations in city skylines will allow you connections from both sides of the building. So I think, of course, with, yet again, I think we use the airport apron every single episode now, don't we? Has there ever been a more important addition to the game than that asset? Every episode I use it now. Just for expanding assets or creating a plaza, whatever it is. It's just unreal. And then this can link into the plaza where we've got the opera house we built on a live stream a few weeks ago. And we'll see if anyone uses that. And with these cargo lines we've got, we will factor you back in. And I think with this cargo line, we'll just allow it to accept trains going off the intercity connection from, I guess, the west is the direction this is going to flow, isn't it? We'll have this one come up. And then I'll probably just elevate it here. Cool. So that gives us a connection back into the cargo yard here too. Super. So hopefully someone will use that. I'll be extremely happy if they do. They should slowly start to arrive as things kick off here. A really nice pack, the emerging downtowns as well. Available very cheap on Instant Gaming too. It is definitely one of the better packs, even though it released quite late for CS. So with this here, the little bit of space between the station and that layer, let's blend it out now so it's not as visible from the town. And let's do something more colourful here. I've not used Zoopath, not used Zoopath for ages. Let's get this snaking up the train station, where we'll also add a little touch of median too, just so they can actually cross there. Now I wouldn't mind staging a little bit of car parking up here, just why it's a train station, right? Let's push that layer in there. Oh, yes, this should look quite spicy actually. And then a no parking road can just come out on an angle. And while we're using a Railroad of Japan station, you'll also use Railroad of Japan car parking. And perhaps some more Japanese themed trees. These pines are pretty sort of Asian looking, I suppose, aren't they? Something you could possibly envision in the forests of Japan, maybe. Oh, a jacaranda, right? Certainly. And maybe directly outside the station here, where we also have another possibility for zoo pathage to sweep this way. I think with this one we'll fall down to grassline roads. And that should just blend in that station really nicely into this little waterfront here. Right? We can imagine a lot of student apartments in here. I think I'm going to save a couple of these earlier buildings, you know, maybe some older row homes that are used for student housing. A lot of these blocks are pretty great as well, aren't they, you know, for it. And all this commercial can grow up on the waterfront. And on that main road as well, let's not forget that. We'll have all this grow up here. Fabulous. And there's lots of room for little details to come in. We can also grab the key while we're talking about the waterfront. I think while this is called the Jamon Riverfront, we might as well expand the whole name to the river. So this river will become known as the Jamon River. That flows out to the river delta here. Super. So a really nice little waterfront addition, and hopefully what's going to prove to be a very busy train station. As we see some people begin to arrive. Let's have a look at a train. Not too many getting off yet. I imagine this will get nuts when there's a match day on at the campus. Which, let's maybe factor in that connection, shall we? Why we've just realised it. They definitely want to go and get across to the sports buildings. I think we will use a campus pathway for this, because they are quite nice elevated. And then do you just want to go straight down? Do I hate that? I don't think so. We'll move that tree a bit there. I imagine that'll get very busy on those match days. It'll save them crossing the road anyway and making traffic. So with this new connection up to the houses, we do actually already have some interesting networks around here to look into. The road through the campus isn't really a through road, it's more of a dead end. But given where it is, it's going to make sense to hook into this. So with this visual, we'll remove a touch of the forest. And for some reason, as always, we have these little moments in CS1 where we can just picture how we want something to look. And for some reason, I'm just envisioning oak-lined roads right alongside the campus here. It's also doing terraforming. It will definitely not be flat here. And just from the edge of the campus, we'll slope up to that. And then let's get these new roads aligned. And then with the back of the law building here, I reckon we can just open that up into some car parking for such a big building, which I think will be a bit more of a organic end to the campus, won't it, rather than just having the forest immediately there. That's why there's a back entrance and side bit now, isn't there, into this big important building here. I think I'll be quite happy with that. It gives this road some purpose as well. Can't imagine that'll get too busy, mainly just for access in and out of the campus. With that established, bring possibly I think some highway road actually. Let's go for bi-directional highway road. And we'll set this up from here, and then we'll come to talk about our first, I guess, professor's residence. That's going to sit in this area. And then I want to use the last of the mountain village assets, which the ones we have left are all quite small, which lends themselves to being repurposed much better into a very wealthy person's home, alright? Delete the two there. I want to keep the forest, so let's bring out what we took away. And then in these little developments, I just want to remove everything, right? I think this will give it quite a unique look. This river's really struggling to flow, isn't it? Are you okay? Are we, got a little bit of a height discrepancy here, maybe? Let's bring this down a little bit, see if we can encourage that flow a bit more. It's very nearly meeting. Hopefully it will. Staggering river, unfortunately. Cool. So with this in, let's also give the property some concrete out the front. We'll obviously reintroduce that road. Something like that. We can then grab ourselves, I think forestry fence for some reason is appealing to me here. And we'll run this from boundary where the road changes. And then just a general enclosing of private land. If you're trying to look after your node count, I'd probably use prop fencing for this, but I won't have that problem. Now let's tidy all this up. And then with the trees here, we can have these come down like this. Just landscape the entrance into this little private driveway a little nicer, right? And with the Railroad to Japan pack, which is definitely the star of today's show, isn't it? We can find some ploppable car parking spaces, which I wouldn't mind for perhaps the millionaire that lives here. Couple of car parking spaces. Get some park props to begin to form up something of a back garden as well. Wouldn't mind tennis court as well, I think. Yeah. A little bit of tennis present on site, which would be fun to see people actually playing. And then with those park props we can grab a little bird bath out here maybe. Little gazebo. Perhaps some smaller play equipment for the professor's children. Alright, little seesaw. And then just some larger trees to a bit more customization into the house. And then some dirt pathways too, just to indicate where perhaps they would take a walk through their garden into the various spaces. Bring one around too. I'll have that come in there. And I think it's some extra landscape, and let's go for some roady patterns maybe to line the driveway here. I'll grab this one. Throw it down onto a little 2-meter fill. We can run that all the way down. I don't want to get too extravagant with these, not like we did, if you remember, way back when, with the billionaires rows. You know, I don't want them to be this extravagant, definitely no horse riding stables. That's part of their garden. But, you know, a more scaled down, similar concept to very large properties. Repurposing unique buildings, essentially. Which I think is definitely one of my best ways to use Mountain Village. It's a really fun little park. It's quite niche, but it doesn't always have to be in the mountains. You can get away with luxurious homes and whatnot, you know? And there they go, arriving home. So we should get no one parking here, of course, because they're non-parking roads. But this is the general concept I think we can run with the Mountain Village stuff across the hillside here. And then up onto the ridge as well. Wouldn't mind a little, perhaps private isolated house on this one here. Maybe we can bring this to fruition together while we're here. Let's see if we can terraform this out. And then I'd love to throw. I guess it has to be a non-parking road again, isn't it? Because I don't want tons of cars parked everywhere. Let's say for that one. And then with how many is there left? 1, 4. We got 4 of them left. Let's get the biggest one up here then. Probably this one, isn't the Avalanche Lodge? Probably the biggest one I think we have now. But easily, if we can position ourselves on the balconies here. I think that's probably the best view from any home in the city, isn't it? You can see Shaflantic City here, Rannoch City, or I guess downtown Rannoch, and everything from here, even the dam, right on the other side of the strait, which is a very cool perspective. We'll have a tiny playground there. We'll also give them a airport apron here too, just so we can build them a little bit of a garden. Come into our props and we'll search for some of the mid-century sun lounges. And we can begin to create just a little bit of paradise out here, right? And the sun moves across this bit of the sky, I think, doesn't it? Yep. We'll be able to enjoy some nice sunbathing here. And there is a pool in the vanilla pool, if you'll excuse the pun. But it's not fantastic, but it'll do us for what we need here. We'll have one there, and then we'll also get the residential grill as well. So, there's barbecues here. There's a little one there. And then we'll use some of these little table sets as well. Maybe this one. And a couple of parasols for the sun lounges as well. And then just some other light landscaping ideas. Just come in with another gazebo. I'll have this at the top here. Bring another fence to this one. Might even do like more of a traditional garden fence. Maybe some farm fencing. Whilst this one kind of, I guess, has its own privacy via elevation, doesn't it? As opposed to needing it from the road, because there's no through traffic coming up here. And then we'll have a little car park next door. Perhaps you can have quite the extravagant collection of cars there. And then just some more colourful little trees. Some taller pines, I think, would be welcome to. And that same stuff, just a bit of a well-trodden path around the garden. We walk along back to the car park there as well. And then some more landscaping where our textures don't quite come together. I think I'll give us not a billionaire's house, but definitely a well-off university professor perhaps, or a university dean. I think that's a quite a high pay position, isn't it? I think. Well, not too bad. We can get the general concept right with the repurposing of our favourite mountain village assets to be very rich homes. Maybe a few more of them to use as well to scatter around this area. But let's turn our attention towards some student housing. There's some spaces left around here I'd like to address. Now, in terms of student homes, we could... Honestly, I'm inclined to keep using this stuff. Emerging downtowns, emerging homes. Sorry, emerging downtowns, high density homes. They just work so nicely as student accommodation, don't they? And these old blocks that have been here since like the 50s and the 60s, back in the university's heyday, and they're still being used today. So we'll see what we can do with this idea in these spaces against the river here, shall we? Awesome. So we've got the Jamon Riverfront out here now. We're going to continue to use this district. Now, we're yet to use a bunch of the music stuff. Now, I've no plans to build a festival area, because, to be honest, there's not much room for one now. So, I think what we will do is actually add this to the riverfront, and then we can factor it in as some sort of university event space. Maybe they host concerts here, lectures, art shows, whatever justification we want to give to it, and it can be factored into the campus space against the river with the university housing. So there's the building I want to use from this, which is going to be the media lab. We reformed the roads here ever so slightly. Let's just go for there for right now. And then we'll grab that building. That's going to be the media broadcast building. I want it maybe a little further over, because I want the media broadcast building to sit in quite a particular orientation. Pretty much right here. So we have this big glass side of the building visible And because we've already got other tech-focused buildings in the campus, it'll actually blend very nicely. I probably should have included this in the original build, actually. I kind of forgot this building hadn't been used yet. But it is a nice one. I do like this. Was it airport apron? That's the important question. Doesn't, but collision meshes will be helpful to us. There we go. Now we can just blend all that in to the outdoor study area. Isn't that very nice? And then we'll do some car parking here as well, I think, for such a big building. Let's have road come up and behind. We'll cut through. And then we'll say hello, people, to just about there. Fantastic. And then I think we'll actually downgrade this road to be non-tree lined. I think a little row of our own trees will go quite nicely here. Nice little way to fill that space there, isn't it? So let's use these roads that we've just established on the collector to now position the concerts arena. Or the concerts area. It's not an arena, is it? How wide are we talking here? Very nearly fits and sits, isn't it? Okay, I have an idea here. Let's snap into our grid. We'll go with no parking road for this one. We'll have the festival area sit, hopefully not centered, but I can fix that. And then we'll have that there. And thanks to the wonderful world of snappable walking nodes, please work. Yes, you do. It's always hard to remember which ones work and which ones don't with these sorts of assets, because not all of them do. Special. And then we can have that there. I also noticed we have a bus in the campus. 2 buses, actually. And I think it's going to make sense to have pull up to the train station, isn't it? So the blue line on the way out of the campus, it can come up into the town, stopping at the train station, and then continue on its way. The white one, I don't think we will bring that to the station, because they're all transferring at the bus hub outside of the campus here anyway. So that should hopefully pull some more people in, which now it's been running for a bit of the episode. Starting to see some walkability, aren't we? Which is always welcome, of course. But very nice indeed. We will hopefully see that come to fruition. We also need to get this road connected in as well. So let's begin to bring in the orientation of our student housing here. I don't want it to be too close to the riverbank here. I want to maintain this little nature reserve bit we built for student recreation and whatnot. So let's start from our path crossings here, because I reckon we're going to get quite a lot of walkability through this bit. And honestly, I'm after kind of back-to-back configurations anyway, so that's probably about deep enough for me, I think. And then with this here, we can develop a really fun little park space around the events area. There's another one as well, isn't there? The fan zone, which we've not used. This maybe feels a bit out of place with the rest of them. I think I'll just put the fan zone in directly next door, because it's kind of a natural extension of this asset, isn't it? At least looks part of the same event space, doesn't it, for the university? We'll go with that then. And then with, what size asset was that other one? I'm very keen to use this. You are 2x4. Very interesting. Okay. I'm going to do a block of it, and then I'll do some more specifics and see what sort of designs we like. To get the 2x4 position asset in place, I wouldn't mind trying a repeated pattern of it. Might be a few too many blocks, but we'll see how it goes as time progresses. And then with these pathways here, I'd really love like a nice detailed river walk all the way down here. And then just back to the end of the road. We get something like that. And then where we have the crossings, we can just pull them down so everyone can walk. With these, I don't really want to send you walking up here, so we'll find something else to do. Again, let's just curve it back to the road, right? Let's just send it straight down there. And then we can bring this little, use the forest railway to mark the end of the build. So yeah, a lot of this stuff, right? Isn't that perfect? Isn't that so good? With a for student housing. These themselves aren't too bad, but you are admittedly growing the wrong way, which is a little bit annoying. That's okay though, we can just adjust that. Won't give us the perfect pattern though, but we can certainly play with some different ideas today. And let's use this one that's come in, right? Let's see if we can generate something with that, although you're not growing very deep, are you? Now you're growing the other way. It never grows the way you want it to, does it? Yeah, all these row homes on the front. Perfect. I'll let some of this stuff upgrade, I think. This is the first time we're using emerging downtowns as university housing. It has to be said, it blends tremendously well, doesn't it? Especially in the foreground of a university. Especially this style of university. Let me get a screenshot there. Possible new amazing asset combinations, everyone. I always love stumbling across stuff like this. And there it is. So that grew in that direction, didn't it? Okay. Well, I don't mind that at all then, actually. Let's continue that way. And also exactly the same through here as well. That's the way it wants to grow. Let's try and encourage that this way, shall we? You are not the right depth. So yeah, every time I see these little 2x4 numbers, they're going to get made historical, I think. I actually wouldn't even mind possibly just bumping out this front 2 rows and making this commercial. Maybe just where we find some more appropriate spots for it, I think. Bring some parks around here too, of course, the usual collection. Dog parks. So placeable. Hopefully it's not too long before that first event as well. When is it? 25th of May. Sorry, the 12th of May, sorry. Yeah, it's not too far away. We should get it in the cinematics at least, if not the detail and time-lapse. But speaking of such things, given my footage corruption issue, let's move into a detail and time-lapse and tidy up all the spaces around the train station here. Down into the waterfront, get all this connected in, and then build up a few more of those professors' houses as well. As we look to complete the Schrader and Jamon area of the city, which sounds a bit like a solicitor's firm, doesn't it? Schrader and Jamon, there for you when you need them the most. Either way, let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. let's have a little detailing review, shall we, of our new hilltop homes, which have been fenced off. The car park's maybe a little busy, but we can pretend he's some sort of pickup truck collector at least. There's a lot of them here. Right, he has a fond hobby of collecting pickup trucks. You could even go for the fact that these are maybe very luxury apartments. This one maybe is a little big to be a house with the multiple balconies. So maybe this one could be perhaps very luxury apartments up here. Right. But with the garden at the back, like we detailed in the episode, the mountain road sweeps down onto the national road that now connects into the campus, with multiple other larger homes available to enjoy, right? What a pleasure it would be to live in a place like this. Do these guys have a front balcony? No, they don't. They have these big glass windows there. You can almost envision the view from the staircase, can't you, if you glitch inside the building? But you enjoyed the first-person tour as well, and you really get a sense of the connectivity now, don't you, between the airport and the density of Shaflantic City in itself. I'm not sure if I mentioned today or if it was a bit of corrupted footage. Yeah, like Shaflantic City feels like its own build, doesn't it? Its own separate city away from kind of downtown Rannoch. It's and that's something that wasn't really planned when we first started. You know, I thought it would be all one expanse, but we almost have two separate cities here, don't we? Something I've really enjoyed about Rannoch. The other one, of course, is also up here with the usual collection of luxury props, grills, pools, sun lounges, gazebos. Much more custom children's playground in this house, which is very busy. It must be the kid's birthday party or something, right? Let's pretend. Or again, perhaps more apartments instead of a house, whatever you want to pretend it is, right? And then there's mid-century modern, very sparsely zoned. So we get these infrequent houses. You can see, right, it's not all fully zoned in. Just want the odd house every now and again. That has its own pool and gives us all the detailing around it, right? It's a shame this pack didn't give us these pools as props. That would have been amazing. And they're not sub-buildings either, unfortunately. They're just part of the asset. But, you know, maybe in a different life. But either way, really nice views from all of these, especially this one here, right? With views to the city and beyond. You even see the forestry towers from here as well in the School of Law, which is a great sightline. And return to the National Road is now cut right through the forest heading down the hill toward the town where all of our emerging downtowns has grown in. The pathway's been fenced off here against the forest of Rannoch as the countryside takes back over. And there's about to be a festival, which is very nice indeed. So some sort of event space for campus. Around here, the broadcast media building settled in amazingly well. And actually made me enjoy the outdoor study area a little bit more, just because of all this cohesive concrete that flows around the building, right? Makes it look so much more realistic. So that's made me love this asset. It just sits just so nicely, doesn't it, as part of the campus. Great addition to the media sort of technology capacity of the campus. Speaking of that, the antenna that we moved have also integrated in with a pathway and some fencing up to it, almost just to kind of maybe try and blend in the fact this telecoms tower is maintained as part of the campus, right? You know, the technology, media, broadcast people will maintain and use this antenna as part of their studies and research, etc. Okay, so maybe we can blend something like that in. And then the last of our mountain homes also sat here into the Hillside suburb, where you can also spot a few more of those mid-century modern homes just scattered across the hill there through the forest, can't you? So not too dense a suburb, just the occasional luxury house or apartment block across the hillside around the back. Around here, the waterfront's all detailed and finally get in use, which is very nice. They're not working on the keys though, but that's fine. Lots of benches, a toilet out here is settled in very nicely, in amongst some old campus buildings, which, pairing of the episode today, I think we've come across quite a lot of nice pairings in today's episode. What emerging downtowns makes simply superb local student accommodation, especially next to the city type campus, which is the more sort of brick based one, I suppose, right? Looks a bit older. These will just work out so well for it, right? Really, really nice. And then all the pathways are hooked back into the campus now as well. Lots of people walking up from the campus to the gig, aren't they? Which is nice. Nice not to see too many people driving up to this and pocket carring in. And then the campus space just really spans into this next bit of town. Onto a pretty busy arterial road now. We've definitely got cars waiting here. But, you know, I don't mind that, you know. Just makes it seem a bit more alive, doesn't it? Which is nice. This then blends onto the next bridge here. The keys don't connect because we did actually, sorry, reintroduce signage that we had on the entrance to the river. I guess, you know, be careful of kayaking or swimming, etc. Fast flowing water. And then the same again down here where the kayaks and the benches are. And then that just goes into the waterfront we have over here. Which sits very nicely, doesn't it? So at this side of the waterfront, where we were, they are using the keys here, which is good. This links in with some basic waterfront detailing at plaza, toilet, benches, etc. Alongside the waterfront where it all rises up onto a little curved pathway that comes over the train station. So it turns out this station, they won't use those back entrances. It must just not have the snapping nodes, which is super unfortunate. So what I did do instead was just drew a little spiral bridge up and over, which is actually forcing use onto a little detailed plaza out the back of the train station. And there's people coming and going down different layers here as well now. So it is getting used. Not as busy as I would like it to be. It's a real shame. I could change the station out for one that does, but I really like this Japanese one, so we'll stick with it. Grills, places to buy newspaper, sit and wait for your train, etc. at the back. And then lots of landscaping out the front of the station and the landmass that it sits on to re-accommodate the work that we've changed here today. To get it all set up, and this pathway here, especially on the match days, gets crazy busy. They all walk around here, and even using this side of the path as well now, because this pathway is drawing so much traffic with this extra one hooked into the train station. And then the bus also coming up here as well now, which was the first person tour was following that obviously. Which all leads to a really nice sort of student town edition, doesn't it? In and around the campus to really complete the area of Shaflantic City today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, a real fun one coming back in, so thank you for all your suggestions. This was a really nice addition to this part of the city. And this will pretty much mark the end of the Shaflantic City developments. This part of the city is done now. And I think next episode, honestly, will be a tying the loose ends together. There's some little bits of the city that aren't quite full episodes that want tying up. After that, we'll probably have a live stream, and then we'll follow the end cinematic sequence of Rannoch tying up the project. So, not too much longer to go now. Expect at the end of Rannoch, that will be a premiere on the channel as always. For those that have been following the channel for a long time, you know we always have these cinematic send-offs showcasing the entire build in a really nice fashion. I always enjoy piecing those together, as sad as they are. So thank you for following this late into an episode, this late into a series. If you are still listening, really appreciate all support on the channel. Massive shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos, with a roll call to our beautiful human beings with fantastic character, our golden egg patrons: Bad Wolf, Blythe, Casino, Great Z, Jamon, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, and Spartan Angel. Thank you so much indeed for all your support, guys. If you want to get involved in that, links to Instant Gaming and Patreon, always the best way to support the work here. Enjoy the cinematics, and I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.